Hi, my name is Anne-Marie Rodriguez de Colleen, and I am a leadership and development expert and CEO of Ruby Red Coaching and Consulting. We work with purpose-driven and human-centric leaders, helping them to achieve their greatest success, whilst also creating sustainable businesses, organizations, communities, and people. And if ever there was a time in our lives when we needed human centricity more, that time is really now. We're fortunate enough to work with clients all over the world, and this has given us a real sense of how the coronavirus or the COVID-19 is really impacting teams and leaders as it's traveling around the globe. And we know this is completely unprecedented times. It's this uncertainty, there's fear, and what's really important here is this constant change, right? And the one challenge that all of our clients are talking to us about, regardless of where they are in the world or regardless of what industry or sector they're in, is the fear and anxiety that this pandemic is causing for their employees as well as for themselves. Today, I wanted to give you a few evidence-based strategies that will help you and your employees to better deal with these anxieties and fear, enabling you to get through this period of uncertainty in one piece, and also ensure that you are able to build and thrive as we move forward and as time progresses. Let me start with this. As a human-centric leader, your charge is to support and empower others to achieve their best selves and to deliver their best results. Being a human-centric leader does not make you superhuman, nor does it mean that you have personal responsibility for fixing everybody else's problems. These are anxious times for everyone, and being a human-centric leader doesn't make you immune to that sense of anxiety either. What it does do, however, is it does make you responsible to better managing and mitigating that anxiety for yourself and for your employees and your teams so that they can deliver the best that they can under these current circumstances. One of the unique characteristics of the chaos caused by this pandemic is the way in which everything that gives us a sense of control and safety has been turned completely upside down. For many people right now, we're asking them to deliver their best selves and their best results, but really getting through the day-to-day is delivering their best results. We need to interrupt our anxious response pattern so that we can gain some perspective and gain control back. When we do this, not only are we going to avoid the crash and burn for today, but we're going to give our brains the space and energy to come up with some innovative and creative solutions that'll help us potentially improve our future moving forward. We need to interrupt our anxious response pattern so that we can gain some perspective and control back. And when we do that, not only do we stop the crash and burn that we might be experiencing today, but we give our brains the energy and space it requires in order to come up with innovative and creative solutions that may actually improve things in our future. So I'm going to give you 7 different evidence-based techniques that are designed to minimize and address anxiety, which you can absolutely use for yourself or you can share with your employees to help them learn some techniques to better address the anxiety that they're also experiencing right now. So the first anxiety removing technique is called Give It a Name. And really basically, it's around trying to identify what that anxiety or fear truly represents. Name it, and when you do so, you immediately contain it, control it, and diminish its power. So for instance, I personally have had an anxiety related to driving for donkey's years. And in the beginning, I believed that my anxiety was driving generically. I hated to drive. I hated to be in the car. I hated everything about it. And it was very debilitating. But when I sat down and tried to really understand what that anxiety was about, what that fear was really about, I understood that my fear was related to hurting other people. I didn't want to accidentally hit someone or, God forbid, kill someone. And once I understood what my anxiety and fear related to driving truly represented, it became a lot more manageable to deal with, and I could address that very specific concern in different ways that allowed me to be able to drive and feel more comfortable with driving again. Another way of naming the anxiety that people recommend, is by literally giving it a name. George, Marcia, Betty Boop, whatever you want to call it. Not only naming it, but also giving it a personality. What does it look like? Blonde hair, goofy eyeballs, big head. When you name it something frivolous, when you begin to recognize the symptoms, I'm getting sweaty palms, I'm getting tension in my chest, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed, you can then say, yeah, I recognize that. That's Marcia, and she's a bit goofy, and she's just trying to help me out. It's fine. I recognize that. And it diminishes the power and impact of that emotion. It's a bit silly, it's a bit frivolous, but it's extraordinarily well researched and very impactful. So number 2 is to reframe with gratitude. So instead of looking at the situation like this, businesses are closing, or we've gone into a lockdown, and my clients and my customers aren't going to be able to use my services. I'm not going to have as much income coming in. Basically cash flow is going to be a nightmare, and who knows if I'm even going to survive, or the business is even going to survive once we get out of this lockdown situation. That's a very real situation, but let's look at it and reframe it with gratitude. Okay, I have some really positive, really great clients and customers who I worked really hard to create positive relationships, and work is going well, or business is going well up till now. This situation is not great, but it's going to give me an opportunity to reconnect with them, find out what they actually need and want from my services, and also to start thinking about some of the things, the products and services that I've been playing with and toying around with in my mind that I just haven't gotten around to doing. Maybe this is an opportunity to put those things into place so that I'm actually ahead of the game moving forward. Positive reframe with gratitude. Another example of this is when we have children. I'm hearing a lot of clients, men and women, talking about the potential impact of having their grade school children and younger age children at home full time whilst the schools are closed, and they have to work full time too. And a lot of people are losing their mind, predominantly because they don't know how they're going to get the work done, and they don't know how they're going to get paid if they don't get the work done. So it's very stressful, anxiety inducing situation. So what's the reframe with gratitude? Well, here's a wonderful opportunity, potentially once in a lifetime, to spend this much time with my children. And this is a great opportunity for them to see me at work, to see what I do at work, and to see the value it gives me to do this kind of work. And together, perhaps we can learn some new lessons about boundary setting, about time management, about gamification in terms of how we manage our playtime and our work time. So there's the potential there for some really positive reframing with gratitude. Next, number 4 is, number 3, mentor yourself. You would not be in the position of leadership that you're in today. You would not be perceived as the leader that you are today if you didn't have very good skills and extremely good counsel. You have the intelligence and the ability to work through almost any problem that you've been dealt with so far. So mentor yourself, ask yourself the questions and answer them as if a friend was asking that of you, a colleague or an employee was asking that of you. You actually have more resources and more information in your own mind and in your own experience than you're giving yourself credit for. Explore, take a moment to really explore any opportunity that, or any previous challenge or conflict or problem that has anything in common with the situation that you're facing now. What did you learn from that experience? And look at also at the experiences when you didn't have any experience, when you didn't know what you were doing and you still survived and you still made it out. Look at those examples and try to understand and take from that examples of your own success and your own perseverance and resilience in a time of crisis. You have that evidence. With that evidence will give you greater confidence that you can overcome the situation too. So be your own mentor. Ask yourself the question as if you were a friend or a colleague or an employee, and look back at your own experiences and your own skills and capabilities and your strengths. Where have you done this before? You have done it before. Take that evidence and use it to move yourself forward with greater confidence. And finally, related to the mentoring yourself, but neither of those two things work very well, you can find yourself someone that you believe in, that you really value their opinion, the way in which they think, the actions that they've taken, and ask yourself, what would so-and-so do? What would so-and-so say? So for me, I'll give you a little hint. It's Oprah Winfrey. My go-to sentence is ask, what would Oprah Winfrey do? What would Oprah Winfrey say? And if it was good enough for Oprah, it's probably good enough for me too. So you can do that. Mentor yourself. Number 5 in your anxiety reducing activities is to practice relentless self-care. I probably should have put this as number 1. It is probably the most important thing to do to better address anxiety and to mitigate its impact on you, both emotionally and physically. Making sure that you sleep well as you can, making sure that you're eating as healthy as you can, continuing to exercise, to be outside for at least 20 minutes a day. All of these things will help you to build that endurance. Now, the other thing that we know is that being with other people, interacting with other people, also helps strengthen your sense of well-being and your overall resilience. Right now, bad advice, don't do that, but you can do it remotely. You can Zoom and Skype and any other service available, FaceTime, whatever it is. Pick up the phone as a novelty. Send an email. And start talking to others, talking to friends, talking to family. Perhaps now's the time to do that more than ever before. That's also another way of building up your sense of resilience and well-being. The 6th tip here, the 6th strategy against anxiety or to manage anxiety is to take action. When we are anxious, we can feel overwhelmed and paralyzed, making no decision and taking no action. The moment we begin to take action, we are the ones in control once again. So make yourself present. Figure out where you are right now. What is the situation right now? And what can you do to fix the situation that you're in? Find, if it takes one action a day, do that one action to take yourself forward, move forward. And with every forward action and forward step that you take, you will continue to build your sense of confidence and control, and that you break that pattern of anxiety. It's critical here. And the 7th and final tip that I can give you is to help others. Fear and anxiety are learned and contagious emotions, but so too are optimism and curiosity and courage. And as a human-centric leader, you are setting the tone and role modeling of behaviors for others. So this is the point where you have to really hold yourself accountable to managing and mitigating anxiety and helping others to do the same. So remembering to take care of yourself, remembering to take care of others. When we do acts of kindness, we release other hormones, oxytocin, for example, that I think they call it the love hormone. But what it does biologically to us is it helps to create a sense of trust, bonding, collaboration. It enhances our sense of well-being, and surprise, surprise, it reduces our stress and anxiety levels, which of course, taken as a whole, enables us to take better care of ourselves, the people who matter to us, and the world at large. So continuing to help your employees and yourself to follow the instructions and recommendations of the government officials and health officials to reduce your own risk and the risk of others to this virus is probably one of the most important things that you also can do at this time. So I hope that you found that helpful, that advice helpful, and tips to guide you through this process and through this time. The situation clearly isn't going away anytime soon, and in fact, it might get worse before it gets better. As leaders, we don't have all the answers, and we are at our core human, and therefore we need the support, advice, and guidance of other leaders as well. And so for the month of March, I'm clearing my diary and making time available to speak to any leader who'd like to talk about strategies to provide human-centric resources and support to help build their team, to help their teams build themselves, and to be able to deliver, again, the best of themselves, the best of each other, for themselves, for the business, for the communities that they work in. That's my commitment to this process as well. You can find my Calendly diary, where you can just click through and book an appointment. By the way, free of charge completely. Completely free of charge and free of any obligation. Just a time for you and I to talk through some strategies to help you maximize the positive opportunities where they are some, and minimize the negative impact of the pandemic for yourself and on the people that are important to you and your business. You can find that link either in my bio or in the comments below, and I look forward to talking to you. I hope that you found this helpful. Please share it with others if you think that anybody else would find it helpful, and together we can get through this. I'm sure we can.